Welcome friends to another r/MaliciousCompliance video. If you're not a malicious soul, make sure to help out by hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by The Flump. You're not allowed to help your coworkers. Okay, no problem. So I started a new job about 2 years ago and finally found a job I'm naturally good at, which has been amazing as my performance has been top-notch, no disciplinary actions, and even a few awards. So I started helping out my fellow coworkers when they were struggling, and especially helping out the newbies who just got off training, which is garbage generic training for 3 weeks, which has literally nothing to do with our sector, and we're literally told to forget everything we learned because it does not apply to us. So naturally the newbies struggle a lot at the start, and that tanks the performance for the entire team. So I wanted to be a good team player now that I finally felt like I knew what I was doing. Apparently, that was a mistake on my part. After 3 months of helping my team, I was called into a meeting with our coach to discuss my behavior, and I was told that I was not allowed to help my coworkers because I'm not trained in that field, and only the higher-ups were supposed to answer questions and make decisions within our job, which would be fine and understandable if the coach was available for the entire 8-hour shift to answer questions and help people, which they are not. I pointed this out along with some statistics that since I started helping out answering questions, our performance has gone up each month, and it helps the newbies feel welcomed as they have a non-superior they can ask stupid questions to without worry. Another mistake on my part. Our coach got really angry, and I was basically told that this is how it is. And if I'm caught giving unsanctioned help again, I'll receive disciplinary action. Okay, fine. Have it your way, you sad, pathetic excuse of a human. I screenshotted the conversation, dug up performance reports prior to me helping, during me helping, and for the next 3 months without me helping. And wow, shocker, we started tanking in our performance. Gasp, how could this have happened? So the entire team got called into a big meeting with the higher-ups, our manager and coach, to discuss what the freak is going on and why we're doing so crap. I let everyone speak and say their piece, and at the end of the meeting, I just asked if I could have 5 minutes of one of the big chief's time, as I think I might have a solution to help improve our performance. And he was actually surprisingly interested, so he called me up after the meeting to hear me out. And I told him about the whole situation, showed screenshots, performance results, the whole 9 yards. My dude was visibly shook, a bit lost for words to be honest, but said he really appreciated the input and would look into fixing this internally, and that was that. 3 days later, our coach resigned in search for greener pastures. If you found yourself in a situation like this where you were putting yourself out there for the new people and really helping them grow and understand their job when they need somebody to kind of lean on, but all of a sudden you get reprimanded for it, you get threats of disciplinary action because it's not your job, would you do what OP did and keep the statistics that prove that when you're helping out, work is getting done better and faster? Or are you the type of person that, if threatened about that disciplinary action, you'd throw your hands up and say, "Alright, I was just trying to help, I'll go back to my normal job"? Just leave it as it is to tank? Let me know about you guys in the comments down below. Our next story is by Secret Asylum. You told me to make money, so I did. Why the surprised Pikachu face now that you can't use money to control me? My mom found a bottle of vodka in my room, and both my parents lost their crap. I decided for once I was going to stand my ground. They were abusive and used to hit me and gaslight me all the time. Only stopped getting hit when I finished high school, and I'm still convinced it was because I scared them when I started getting more pissed than scared and telling my dad to hit me since that's all he knew how to do when I could see it coming. Even offered him the other cheek after he did once. The gaslighting and occasional verbal abuse still continues though. I was an adult and it wasn't like I was abusing it. I only ever drank once or twice a month, and never enough to not be able to act sober if needed. A bottle lasted me a while. So I said, yes, it's mine. I'm an adult and I choose to drink occasionally. They started accusing me of being a drunk, saying all the times I've been happy or laughed the last few months was only because I was drunk. They then moved on to accusing me of probably smoking crack and other hardcore drugs. They had previously found some weed before, but that's a whole crap show of its own. Said I choose to be a bad girl and do this crap when there's girls that don't. I bet the girls they're thinking about drink more in a month than I have in my whole life. since I was so terrified of getting caught by my parents when I used to get hit for stupid stuff. Finally, they said they were going to cut me off and pull me out of school. It's university, since they were paying for it while actively discouraging me from working so I could focus on my studies. I've had part-time jobs before, and they've always encouraged me to quit. My dad had his name in my bank account and had previously emptied it of the, what I consider, significant amount of money that consisted of insurance money I received from being injured in a car accident as a child when I turned 18, and the money I earned working summers at our family business. Related to the weed incident, they probably planned to do the same again. They said they weren't going to pay for my university, and that if I was going to drink and do bad crap, then they weren't going to help me with school and that I had to drop out, make my own money, and get out. They wanted nothing to do with a daughter like me. My dad also made it a point to say that it didn't matter what happened to me, and said he doesn't care if I die of a drug overdose or COVID. It was the last thing he said to me before giving me the silent treatment for months. They weren't going to kick me out, it was all mind games. They expected me to crumble, resorting to begging at their feet to stay while swearing I would never even look in the direction of liquor again because they knew I was financially dependent on them. I knew this because public appearance and reputation meant everything to them. They would have to explain to our relatives and their friends what happened to their daughter, who no longer lived with them. Moving out isn't as common in our culture. Plus, when I resorted to holding up in my room after the verbal abuse and not leaving for days unless everyone had gone to bed so I could eat, my mom had come demanding to know if I was going to listen to them and not do bad things ever again. They wanted me to beg for forgiveness and admit that what I did was wrong and that I would never do it again. But I didn't beg. I gave her the bare minimum response to get her off my back, while replaying the crap they said to me in my head to keep my anger burning, which motivated me. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just holed up in my room avoiding them until things died down. I was doing what they told me to, making money. Not just money, but the money they had no access to. Over the last few years, I'd been writing a book online and posting chapters for people to read for free as a hobby. I was the quiet kid who was a bookworm growing up and still am. My mom didn't like how I'd used to just sit quietly and read instead of interacting with the family that bullied me for being a fat child. She was always telling me to stop reading. My love of reading and not being able to stop daydreaming and creating stories in my head had me turn writing into a hobby. I started writing a book in my free time without expecting it to go anywhere, posting it for free on Wattpad. I was content with the little boost I got from reader comments and votes I got each time I updated a chapter, even if it was once every few weeks or months. Even the fans harassing me for updates made me feel good, because it told me that they enjoyed my writing. Those days that I was hiding in my room were actually spent writing the next few chapters of my book. What I would have lazily spent months writing here and there, I wrote in those days. I created a Patreon page and posted the new chapters on it, before posting an update where I regularly uploaded new free chapters, informing my readers that they could pay to read chapters early on my Patreon, and that I was going to start uploading multiple times a week there regularly, while still providing one free update every week. The next time my mom got on my butt about staying in my room, and if I had made my decision on what I was going to do, I played along and agreed, lying through my teeth that I would never drink again, and I knew I was wrong. I knew I wouldn't make enough to move out and stick it to my parents, but I used the emotions they brought out in me to encourage me to start creating financial stability for myself. It affected me more than I had realized when they had taken all my money without informing me the last time I upset them. I made $600 in the last 10 days of the month. Then I made over $3,000 the next month. Then $5,000. The amount I made each month kept increasing. Last month I was a few dollars shy of making $11,000. This month I think I might make more. I wanted to keep my income a secret, but was happy when I told my mom that I started making money from writing when asked what my plans were for after my undergraduate degree. Because now the roles are reversed, I was right. They didn't intend to kick me out. It was clear after the last argument I had with them that resulted in me making it known that I didn't have to live here and put up with their crap. My mom knew I was making money from writing, but not how much. only knowing that I said I would continue to if I started making enough. I had never seen my mom backtrack so fast, but not before attempting a bit of gaslighting, of course. It hadn't clicked for her how much money I was making, while, in her eyes, just sitting at home on my phone. It only clicked when I dropped the news that I'd made $60,000 since I started earlier this year. Now she's afraid to say anything to me that will upset me. She smelled weed once, but instead of outright calling me on it and searching my room inside out, she asked me hesitantly if I knew anything, and even ended the conversation with, "Oh, it must have been from outside," when I denied it. I'm going to stick around without rocking the boat until I finish my degree, have a few classes left, or have enough money saved that I'm comfortable losing my parents as a source to turn to for help. My source of income isn't a secure thing, so I'm still cautious about letting it go to my head. That last bit there is definitely a very healthy mindset, I think, to have about it. It's really nice that they've taken the precaution to lock this money away from their parents, and it's just great to hear that a hobby and something they're passionate about turned into a very fulfilling career. Making $11,000 in a month? That is a very legitimate career. Now, of course, that's assuming it's USD. I don't know what currency this actually is. But if it is the equivalent, they need to keep on that grind. After reading this story, you can't help but pull for OP, and I hope the situation works out for them, and I hope their parents stop messing around with them or stop threatening and being so ridiculously constrictive. I understand it's a different culture, but even still, the stuff they did was way over the top. And our final story of the day is by Mark B. Mann. Everyone else wants the meeting first thing in the morning? Okay. So this story is being stolen from my girlfriend. She works at a company that provides warehousing, product prep, and direct-to-consumer services to other companies. She works in their office dealing directly with several key accounts, but also has a few lines that she manages. The lines are responsible for prepping and building shipments. The line workers will gather in the morning and wait for their daily assignments, as well as any direct-to-consumer orders from my girlfriend. This detail is important. The other office workers help manage some accounts, but don't manage the lines or direct-to-consumer orders, nor do they know how to. She comes into work one day and finds out they have a new director, and he wants to start organizing, streamlining, etc. You know, the things the new important person does to make it look like he's giving it his all. His first order of business is to have a mandatory daily meeting at 8 a.m. with everyone in the office that will take no longer than 15 minutes. My girlfriend requests that the meeting starts at 9 a.m. instead, as the warehouse workers will be doing nothing but waiting around for their assignments otherwise. The director, probably not wanting to look like he's playing favorites on his first day, puts this to a vote. And surprise, the other people want to start first thing in the morning, as they have nothing else to do at that time. So my girlfriend says, okay, if they want to start first thing in the morning, that's no problem. The next day, the meeting begins as soon as everyone arrives. And as they gather and the director begins talking, they hear the various lines start calling my girlfriend's name over the radio in the distance. 5 minutes go by, and now people begin wandering into the office. 10 minutes and a small group forms. 15 minutes and people are coming and going, patiently waiting for her, as she is ferociously tapping her pen on a clipboard. At this point, the director pipes up with a less than sincere, "Well, you look rather anxious, so if you have someplace to be, you can go if we're keeping you." She responds with a candid and rushed, "Thank you so much," and runs away to take care of her lines and process consumer orders. The new director, after this conversation, spoke with the owner of the company. To his credit, the director later that day sought out my girlfriend and recapped what she missed at this meeting, which ultimately ran for over 45 minutes. He also explained that the owner of the company informed him that she has the most responsibility of anyone in the office, generally can be relied on for anything, and is hands down his best employee. The meeting is now at 9 a.m. I want to believe the director went to the owner and was like, "Hey, big boss man, can you believe this employee? So impatient, tapping on her clipboard, leaving in the middle of it." The owner just stops, waits for them to finish, and then replies with, "You know that's my best employee, right? They're literally the best person in this entire warehouse." The new director's like, Yeah, I was just messing with you. Yeah, they're great. I just wanted to let you know that we're gonna shift the meeting a little bit later so it works better for them. I mean, honestly, sometimes these new managers, they just kind of sink themselves. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.